Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. Today is the day after Mother's Day and the week before the Tea Party. So thank you, God, for another beautiful overcast day today. Thank you, God, for another beautiful day. Even though my spirit is feeling a little low, I still thank you as well as it is. Thank you, God, for another beautiful day. Just give me a moment. Let me go check on something. Let me take a break right quick. Oh, I want to see you. Look on his face. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. I want to see the Lord. Mm, mm. That's a good one. Oh, that's out. Oh, anybody gonna show up this morning? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning again. And good morning to that person who just popped in on your way to work, in your car driving, or just in your bed listening. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. I'm just gonna wait to see if anybody else gonna pop in before I get started. Today is the day after Mother's Day, and I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. Had the best Mother's Day ever. Mine was kind of because most everybody I know was feeling like I was feeling, and just said, it's Mother's Day and it's just another day. Couldn't really get into it the way that we wanted to get into it. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Yep, that is so true. That is so true. That is so true. This morning, I wanted to talk about grief, talk about pain, talking about how to deal with an ordeal when you're going through something. And it's hard. It's for me right now. It's very hard. Um, Friend passed away last Monday. About this Monday, yeah, passed away Monday. I get a phone call right after I get off live. I get a phone call around maybe 10 after 9 telling me that my friend had passed away. And it wasn't some people, when you hear that they passed away, it's got, oh, okay, I'm sorry. But this time is different. This time is different. Mother's Day was yesterday, and my heart went out not only to her mom, but her children as well, because this was the first Mother's Day without their mom. They had to experience that. Um, and it was the first Mother's Day that her mom didn't hear her voice, or her mom is visual impaired, so she couldn't see her, but she can always hear. So she didn't hear her daughter's voice. And it was the first for a lot of people. My pastor, it was the first Mother's Day without his mom, and that was hard. I can't say I can imagine how hard that was, because I can't imagine that, because I still have my mom. So I don't want to, I can't imagine how that feel at this moment, because I'm not motherless. And it's just like this week is like a bittersweet week. You know, I have the tea party Saturday, Lord's willing, have the tea party Saturday, go and decorate Friday. Then next Monday, my granddaughter, she graduates high school and getting ready, preparing to leave to go to Atlanta. Um, so I have a whirlwind of emotions. and I'm not quite sure how to navigate these emotions. I have emotion. I am grief stricken. I want to be excited about the tea party, and it's like I'm overwhelmed. Not really overwhelmed, but my granddaughter graduating high school, and I'm saying I remember the day she was born. I was in the birthing room when she was born. You know, I saw her change from gray. I saw her when she came out of her mother's womb. I saw her. I saw her when they put her in that little um like incubator thing so she can get her color. I saw all of that. I saw when she took her first breath, her first walk, her first teeth, her first word. I saw all of that. Her first day of school. I was there for all of that. There for all of that. And I thank God for grace and mercy. And I pray that I see her walk across that stage as well. And I pray that He also allowed me to see her be a part of the journey, taking her to college, getting her dorm room prepared for her. I was there for like every step of this journey that she's on, and it's just amazing. It's bittersweet. Um, love her and want her to fly the nest and become the woman who God has already predestined and ordained her to be. So, good morning, AKA. So, I just have a whole bunch of, I have a lot of emotions that I am dealing with this week. I can't live beyond today. So, I'm just going to take one day at a time because that's all I can do at this moment. However, it's just yesterday was like so, how you say, Melik? Yesterday was such a somber day. Um, it was like it's like it was a cloud. It was like there was a cloud that was just hovering, a cloud of sadness, and felt like was going through the motions. Um, just it just I talked to my daughter, and she said, "Well, Mom, she did me a she sent me a text. I got up early yesterday morning when I got up, and I just started shooting texts out to people, wishing them a happy Mother's Day and stuff like that. I wanted to be the first person to tell them Happy Mother's Day, and with my daughter, I text her, Happy Mother's Day, and I understand where her feelings are right now because she not only is grieving, she's grieving someone that she loved a lot. She loved Tammy, and this happened, and then her daughter is graduating high school and getting ready to leave to go to college. So her emotions are all over the place, and I have to be somewhat grounded. To So I can be able to support her and to support Jordan. And I have to be in the right frame of mind. So in order for me to be in the right frame of mind, it's not like putting my grief in behind me. I have to grieve when I have to grieve, and the the excitement about the tea party. It's just for me, it's just something I have to do because I agreed to do this, and it's too late to back out now. So there's an excitement about that as well. There's also sadness about that because I'm not going to be able to attend the tea party. The funeral and the tea party is basically almost at the same time, and the tea party will be but my friend is not. So I'm gonna honor her, and I'm gonna go show some support for her family. And yesterday was it was Mother's Day yesterday, and I didn't get anything for Mother's Day. But my children, they called me yesterday, and I understand with my son what he's going through, and I understand it. And with my daughter, that's understandable as well. And she a text, and she sent me a message, and it just made me cry in church yesterday because I understand with Verena, it's like Christmas, Mother's Day, birthdays. She's always giving me, and it broke her that she couldn't give me anything yesterday. And and I had to explain to her, it's not about what you can give me. I told her, the only thing that I want for you is to take care of your daughter. Do what you got to do so your child can be comfortable, and her crossing over, her going to college, her graduating high school. Make sure she have everything that she needs, and that's the Mother Day gift for me. And she said, and she wrote, she said, "Sometimes I know you feel neglected, and I know um things come up sometimes, but I appreciate you more. I love you, and I appreciate you more than you can ever imagine. I would not be the mother, I wouldn't be the friend, I wouldn't be the woman, the mother, the friend, or the woman that I am today if it wasn't for you. Even in your weakest moment, even in your darkest moment, even when times that you wasn't yourself, you never looked down on me. You never told me I couldn't do anything. You always encouraged me. You always lifted me up. You always made me feel like I can do anything, and I felt as if I can do anything because you said that I can do anything. And and it just made me, that was the best thing that she could have given me that morning. Well, good morning. You up real early, Shauna. You are up really early this morning, but I thank you for being here. I did either. I got everything for my birthday last week. I feel bad because my husband is still grieving his mother really bad. And see, that's the thing. My pastor, he was grieving. This was when I tell you, since he's been in the state of Florida, this is the first Sunday that he has ever been in his own church on Mother's Day, because he's always with his mom. And leading up to Mother's Day, Friday I was at a funeral, sung at a funeral Friday, Saturday sung at a funeral, and I just watched my pastor how he was going through things. And yesterday in church she preached a sermon about love your mother, while she's still here. And that shouldn't be something that is, like he said, your mother carried you for 9 months, or you carried a child for 9 months, for the child to get out to talk back to you and do all kind of stuff like that. And so, I called my mom Saturday while after the funeral, and I was telling them, I said, "Y'all watch this. I'm gonna call my mom and see if she'll cook for me." And I said, "I'm gonna tell you what she gonna say. She gonna say, ah." So I called my mom Saturday after we had left the funeral. We were sitting out in front of the we were sitting outside, and I called my mom and I said, "Hey, where you at?" She said, "I'm in Orlando." I said, "In Orlando?" She said, "Yes, I'm in Orlando." I said, "Oh." I said, "Well, I was wondering when you coming home." She said, "I'll be home tomorrow." I said, "I was wondering, when you come home, can you you gonna cook for me?" She said, uh. So, and everybody just started laughing, right? So my pastor said, "Your mama gonna cook for you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm a mother too. She could cook for me." And she was at home. She was out and about in Orlando with some of her sisters, and that was from the mass, and from the mass jet. And I was happy that she was out and about. So celebrating my mom, just thanking God for longevity, thanking my God that my mom is still here, and then my heart goes out to the people that didn't have their moms for Mother's Day. Maybe that was the first Mother's Day. It don't matter if it was the first or the 31st Mother's Day that they didn't have their mom. She wasn't here to be celebrated. And my pastor's wife, her mom passed away some years ago, and she was the baby of the family. And you still could feel. I'm sure she still feels that, because this is one day that was set aside just for the moms. And I thought about Tammy children, even though it don't matter how young or how old. And I thought about Tammy kids, and this was their first Mother's Day without their mom. And I can't even imagine in my mind what was going on in their heads. I just couldn't imagine that. So this week is like, it's a bittersweet week for me. It's bittersweet. The tea party. I'm excited about the tea party. And then I'm saying, well, Lord, my dress might not even come in time enough for me to even go to the tea party, to wear to the tea party. And then this come up, and I'm still praying that my dress, um, will get here in time enough for the tea party. If not, I'm gonna send it right back. And I was hoping that the funeral would be later in the day, but it's not. I don't know what time exactly, but I know it's on Saturday, and most likely it'll be Saturday in the morning. And I want to be in that place. I am. I want to be in that place of understanding. I want to be in that place of compassion, and I want to be in that place of love. But it's so much surrounding. It's not a lot that's surrounding her death or the circumstances of her death. She passed away 53, 50. I thought she was 55, but I think they said 52, 53, 54, maybe 55. And it's young, having a massive heart attack. And what I grieved is what I am grieving is the fact that there's a cloud of mystery surrounding that. I grieve that for the family. And this morning, and it just comes in spurts when I think about her being so full of life. And I never seen this before. When I say it's like a whole community of people not questioning God, not even asking the question why, just feeling so off balance. And I'm telling you, it's like a community is in mourning and don't know what to do with it, don't know how to place it, and trying to reconcile with it, and just trying to come to terms with it. Just trying to come to terms with it. And it's hard. It's hard when you know, and for me, for me, if she was just someone that I knew, if she was just someone that I knew, I believe I would be okay with it. But she was someone that not only did I know her, I saw her at her highest highs. I saw her at her lowest low. I have cried with her. I've cried to her. I've cried with her. We had went through some things. We had went through some things, and I knew her. I had a sisterly relationship with her. And that's the part that my spirit is grieving. That's the part we started out going to the same church. The church got separated. I left to go to St. John at first. Then I left to go to the church that I'm going to now. She left right after I left to go back to St. John. And that's the church that she grew up in as a child. And she went back. And when I tell you the whole church, I was in church St. John Friday, and the church just didn't feel like it just didn't feel like the church. It felt like there was a cloud of sorrow just hovering over that church. So I don't need to tell nobody about, life is short, life is precious, life is a vapor. Let go of, because there is some hurt. There's a lot of hurt in that family. There's a lot of hurt last night. And words was spoken that can't even take back now. Can't even say I'm sorry. Can't even say, can you please forgive me? Can can we just have a do-over? Those words don't matter anymore because she's not here. And for some reason, I have been talking about forgiveness, about just letting go, just let stuff go. Stop holding on to stuff, because holding on to stuff is like a cancer. It'll eat you up in the inside. It would destroy you before it destroy the person that you're holding a grudge against. It would eat you up. It would eat you up. And and I know Mother's Day was so hard. Yeah, I saw it on everybody's face yesterday. You know, people, well, you going out to eat? No, I don't really want to go nowhere. I really don't want to do anything. And so yesterday, it was a day. It was a Sunday that was set aside for mothers. And that was nice. And for the mothers that enjoyed their time, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be honored. And as mothers, we're supposed to be honored every day. Sometimes we're not, sometimes we are, but that's just the way it goes. Mothers are the glue that's keep the family together. A mother wears so many different hats, and you don't have to be a birth mother. That baby ain't had to come out. That child didn't have to come out your womb. You could be a godmother that's stepping in. You could be a sister, a auntie, a cousin, a play auntie. You could be a grandmother that's stepping in, just filling a gap for a mother that can't quite get it together right now. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. So Friday, I'm at a funeral, right? And my people tell me I wear everything on my face. So I'm trying to learn how to not look shocked, not look annoyed, and not I'm trying with my facial expressions. I really am. And I thought I had been doing good, y'all. So we had this funeral for one of the church members. Her husband had passed away. So he was a member of St. John. So I'm in the choir stand, and the choir stand is sitting. You know how the choir, the casket is out here, and then you in the choir stand, and then either sometimes the family will sit on the left or the family will sit on the right. So the family chose to sit on the right, right? So it's just a few of us in the choir stand, and I'm asking, okay, what are we gonna sing? Because we were gonna be singing with St. John Choir, and only what two members of St. John Choir showed up. So it was us that was singing, right? So this guy, he sung this. I said, well, what are we singing? Because, I don't know how they sing their songs. I don't know what song they're going to sing. So I don't want to be sitting up here and don't know what I'm singing. I'll go sit down, in the congregation, because I had seen some people that I knew, and I said, I go sit down with them. So um, Tracy number two said, well, if you're gonna go now, because the family is getting ready to. And so Val, the music director, she was looking at me, and so she said, I don't know what they're gonna. So I looked at Jeffrey, which is Tammy's cousin, and he was telling me the song, and he was just going over. I said, "Oh, so I know that. Okay, okay." So by the time the family is walking in, so we got to sing a song while the family is walking in, and so we're just singing, and it was nice. It was just a nice little. I don't know if you say nice, but the choir did what it had to do with what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, right? So pastor get up and he tell the family, everything is going by the program. Because when my pastor is doing funeral, he goes by the program. He goes by the program. So he was saying, when it's got time for the people to speak and stuff like that, he was saying 2 minutes, but if the family want to, you could take as long as you want to. So there was a solo between with a husband and a wife was getting up and singing, right? So they got up and they started singing, and the lady who played for them at their church, I'm assuming that's who she was. She started playing, she started playing the keyboard. She came up and she played the keyboard. So the husband and the wife, I didn't know they was husband and wife, but the two people came up, the husband and the wife came up, and she has a beautiful voice, and she was singing, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. She was singing that song, but she, and then her husband was the ooh, and he was just, it wasn't quite as good as I just did, right? So I'm sitting there, and I had the obituary, and I wasn't even aware of the things that I was doing. So I didn't want to look through the obituary. I didn't want to do nothing. I just put the obituary up to my head, and then I didn't even realize what I was doing, y'all. And so the girl next to me, she said, "Stop." She said, "Stop it, behave." And I said, "What?" So and the man started singing. I said, "Oh." And I didn't realize in my mind I was not saying it out loud. I was quiet. I said, "Ooh," and I didn't want to look, because I mean the family was sitting right in front of me. The family was sitting right in front of me, so I'm trying to hold a straight face. I'm just trying to look out, that like I was like looking out the window, and just rocking, and just trying the very best that I could, not to. I thought I was doing good. So so after the funeral, after, in the family done gone at the funeral procession, everybody done gone at the church, right? So my friend, her sister, so we walking down, we coming out the choir, and she said, I ain't gonna say nothing to you right now. I'm gonna wait till you get in the car. And I said, well, what happened? Like, what happened? What I do? What happened? She said, girl. So her sister said, well, I'm gonna say it. She said, Marita, what are all them faces about? I said, what? I said, how I was making faces. So my friend said, girl, She said, I was trying to get your attention to tell you to straighten up your face. She said, but when that man started singing and the look on your face, she said, you were moving around. She said, I was out there just laughing. She said, Linda, she can't be still. Look at her. Look at her. She can't be still. She said, you put the obituary up to your face, then you start moving around, then you start looking down, and you're trying to keep a straight face. Y'all, I'm telling you, if you had a, have you ever heard somebody who can't sing, try to sing, and you just sit there and don't know what to do with that? That's just the way that I was. That's exactly the way that I was. So we laughing about it and stuff like that. So fast forward to Saturday. So my friend had called me. I had sat down and I had just got up and just pitter pattering around the house. We really wasn't doing anything. Now she called me about the funeral was at 11. She called me about 9:45. She had to go into Fort Myers early because she sell this jewelry. She had people to meet. So then she called me. She said, are you going to the funeral? I said, no, because I didn't have no way. I said, are you going? She said, yeah. She said, but I called to see if you wanted to go. She said, I guess we should have talked about this yesterday. I said, yeah, that would have been a good idea if we had her. And so she said, well, if you want to go, I'm leaving I got to be somewhere, meet some people at 10:30. So I want to leave the house maybe around 10:15. But if I'm coming to pick you up, I leave the house at 10 after 10. So I said, okay. So now I said, okay, let me get out the phone and let me do what I do, right? So I jump up, I go in the bathroom, wash my hair, then I go and do my lashes. I said, please, Lord, let the lashes go on quick and fast, moisturize and do this right here, put on some lipstick, then find something to put on. And I found something to put on. I ran down and I went on downstairs where she was at. So by the time she got there, by the time I got downstairs, she was there. So we go to this second funeral. So now it's just full of us at this funeral, and the funeral is at the funeral home. They have a chapel at the funeral home, so the funeral is at the funeral home. So everything was so nice, and go up and greet the family and hug the family, um, and um, we was just there, right? So after a while, baby, when the family started speaking, and then Uncle get up there and he started talking, and he was talking about he was a what he said um he was a hot mess. He was something he said he couldn't quite get his life right. And he was talking about his auntie. So I don't know what they were saying, but he talking about now I got my money from the Air Force and I bought one house and then I bought another house and I said, oh hey hey and so I started. So the girl sitting next to me, she said, stop it. Stop trying to bet your eyelashes at that man. So we were just sitting up there, and after church, and my friend said, um, she said, girl, you a mess. I said, oh, there go Uncle can't get right there. And she just, just being at a funeral, how this guy had said, when you in church, who can you not, what family member you can't sit next to? And then she said, girl, I can't sit next to you in church like this, right? And I said, girl, I can't sit next to you. And I said, don't y'all never talk about the way that y'all be talking about I be acting. Me, her, and her sister, they just act up in church. I said, man, but it was bittersweet. It was bittersweet because that was Vanessa. Yesterday was Vanessa's first day, without her mom and being an only child. And that kind of got to me because I'm an only child as well. And I know I can go before my mom. So I can go before my child. I don't know what day is assigned to me. I don't know what day is assigned to me. So you know what? I made a conscious decision. And I was telling my friend, and I was telling my daughter, and I was talking to in Sunday school. I was saying, I'm wearing all. I'm not leaving. I said, I'm wearing all my perfume. If I got to wear all my perfume at one time, I'm putting it on. I am putting it on. I'm not holding. I don't hold grudges. I don't hold grudges. I don't do that. I give something 78 hours, and after that, I give it 72 hours. And after that, it's a done deal. I don't hold grudges. I don't hold unforgiveness in my heart because I've been there. I've done all of that, and it didn't benefit me at all. I didn't get anything out of it. Always people always ask me, why you look like that? I always frowned up and stuff like that because I'm angry in the inside, and I'm holding grudges, and I'm being mean and hateful and having just a rotten nasty attitude towards people. So I said, I'm not doing that anymore. That was the past. And then when death comes to somebody that and it comes to someone that's close to you, it just bring on a whole different outlook on everything. And because life is a vapor. It's like we here and we're no longer here. Just like that vapor disappears, that's just how fragile life is. So I'm not going to let someone be in charge of my feelings. I'm going to be in charge of my feelings. I'm not going to allow someone to dictate to me how I should feel and how I should be because they're in my presence or I'm in their presence. Now my whole everything has changed. My peace has walked out the door. My joy is gone. And then whatever mood I was in, now I'm in a different mood because they appeared or they said something about me. No, I refuse to give anybody that type of power or control over me. And I told my daughter, I say, from now on, if when I want to go somewhere or just get out the house, there's a bus stop right behind the apartment here. But the big bus terminal is right across the street. And I'm gonna tell y'all, the way God set things up, sometimes you don't understand, but pay attention to the way God has set things up around you. We don't pay attention to some of the things that God do. God put me in an area where I can walk across the street. I can walk across the street to the bus terminal. I can walk to CVS. I can walk to Walgreens. I can walk to Dunkin' Donuts. I can walk to Starbucks. I can walk to McDonald's. I can walk to whatever Chinese restaurant. I can walk to whatever nail salon. There's a Winn-Dixie. I'm in walking distance of everything. I'm in walking distance of everything. God will put us in a situation that we don't really even pay attention to sometimes. And then when you sit down and just think about it, and I sat down and I said, you know what? I talked to my mom yesterday. So she asked me, she said, how are you doing without a car? I said, I'm getting where I want to go. I am getting where I want to go. And I told my mom, I said, I can remember a time when I had this money that I wouldn't have been smoked that money up. I would have been smoked that money up. And then I would have been looking like a fool because now I ain't got no solid ground to stand on. And that's what we were talking about yesterday. The foolish and the wise. We were talking about the foolish and the wise builder. A wise builder will build a house on solid foundation. On solid foundation. And it was coming out of Matthew 7 verses, I want to say 25. 24, 20, Matthew 25. It was coming out of Matthew 25. The wise and the foolish. And it was for such a time, and I really didn't think about it. Yeah. It was coming from Matthew 7 verses 24 through 29. The wise and the foolish builder. And it was just a metaphor for a building. But what it was really talking about was this building, making wise decisions, choosing the right way to go, the right way to be, of choosing what's right for this building here, for this temple. Because God said, you don't let anything go up in your temple. And I thought about that, and then I said, wow, I don't let a lot of things come up in this temple of mine to defile me. I'm a walking billboard. I'm the only light some people see. So if I'm walking with a dim light don't cast. You don't get good lighting from a dim light. And and I profess to be a child of God. I profess to be that beacon of light that sits upon the hill, that when darkness come, and a light of hope. That's what I'm professing. So we were in Sunday school and we were talking about the wise and the foolish builder. So I said, I don't like calling people fools, because when I understand what foolish meant, and that we can't be calling people fools. And I said, well, I don't like that word. I don't like that word, calling somebody foolish, calling somebody stupid, you know. And Pastor said, well, the Bible said it. You didn't say it. The Bible said fool. Proverbs talk about fools all the time. Proverbs talk about fools all the time. So in this metaphor about the wise and the foolish builder, and we were talking about that in Sunday school, and there was a question. A question was asked. This question that had I was what was it? When you give advice to someone, how do you feel? How do you feel when you offer sound advice and it is rejected? And I said, I don't feel no type of way. I don't. I don't feel any type of way. And a lot of people were saying, well, I feel rejected when I give someone sound advice and they don't take it. I said, I don't. I don't. I don't feel rejected, because if I am, God has put it on my heart to go to someone, or someone came to me, then I don't say, well, if it was me, this is what I would do. You should do this. You ought to do this, and you need to do that. No, I don't do that. I like to listen to a person. I like to listen at what they're saying, so I can feel what I like to feel what a person is saying. And then when it's time for me to talk, it's not me that's talking. So it's not me that they're rejecting. It's the word that God has put in me that I am giving to them. Thus says the Lord. So when you don't take advice, that when a person don't take sound advice and they want to do what they want to do anyway, then you're not rejecting me. You're rejecting God. You're rejecting the word of God. You rejecting God. You ain't rejecting me. So I had to show them what I was talking about, especially one person. I had to show her what I was talking about. I said, you know what? I've been to jail. I've been to Florida State Penitentiary for women. I've been downtown at in the jail. I've been there. And I've been in the street. I done shot dope. I done smoked dope. I done popped pills. I done did it. I done did it. I did it. So when I see somebody that's out there doing it, and a family member come to me and ask me, would I talk to that person? Yeah, I'll talk to them. And I'm not going to tell them, well, you know what, you need to stop that. Because, see, I was out there and I could tell you about it. No, I don't do that. I don't do that. Because anybody who's going through any kind of addiction, drug addiction, alcohol, whatever it is, there's a root cause. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be a drug addict. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be an alcoholic. You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to be a hoe. You don't wake up in the morning just going being a gambler. You don't wake up in the morning just say, I want to do this and I'm going to just keep on doing this. No, you don't wake up in the morning being that type of way. There's a root cause of everything. There's a root cause. And when I talk to people about doing drugs, I like to know, well, what happened? When was the first time you shot up? When was the first time and what happened to make you want to do that? What made you want to do that? Mine was curiosity for me, really. The first time the first time I shot up, I was curious. And so I tried it. I tried it. And I like the feeling. But then instead of me being in control of it, began to control me. It began to control me. So I wasn't wise with this body, with this temple. I wasn't being wise. I was just thinking about what I want. I was destroying myself piece by piece, bit by bit. I was destroying my yet. And yes, AKA, yes, it was. And I didn't laugh because I'm sitting in the choir stand and the pastors, there's my pastor, the pastor of the church, um, the pastor, different pastors who knew the family and knew the man, they were there. They were sitting over on one side, and I'm sitting right here in the choir. And then it's like everybody, and I felt my face got hot because I felt like everybody was watching me. So I'm trying to sit there, what I'm thinking, like with a straight face. And I don't know, I people saw that my face wasn't straight, and it was. I am that person that you can't sit next to if something happened. I'm just not that person. I'm not that person. Anyway, we made it through that, and we made it through Saturday. And Lord, you know what, Lord, I ask y'all to just keep me lifted in prayer. Please keep me lifted in prayer. Keep Verena lifted in prayer because she's having a time with this as well. Um, because Miss Tammy, that's what she called Tammy um from middle school, and even when she became an adult, it was always Miss Tammy. It was always Miss Tammy. And there's some circumstance, there's a circumstance behind this that people are angry. People are angry. And when a person passed away, all kind of stuff start coming out and stuff. So there's some anger. There's some anger, and it's some, but it's grief. The family is grieving, but they're angry, and there's a lot of questions that's not going to be answered. There's a lot of questions that's not going to be answered. And it's, I want to say, people don't understand. You might can hide it from me, but see, if God is an all-knowing, all-seeing, and an ever-present God, He don't just sit high and look low for nothing. He sits high and He looks low, and He see everything. Every secret you think you got, it ain't no secret. Because if you told that secret to somebody, that if you told that secret to your best friend got a best friend. And if you told that secret to somebody you think ain't gonna tell it to somebody, it ain't no secret. Somebody else know it. Somebody else know it. And sometimes it's just best to take everything to the Lord in prayer and let God direct you to the right person that you could go and talk to. And it might not be your mama, your sister, your auntie, and it might not even be your best friend. It could be the least likeliest person that you would think that'll hold that secret. I had two best friends, and the things that we did in our lifetime together, they took it to the grave. And I'm going to take it to the grave as well. I don't have anything to confess. That's why I tell my daughter was so angry when I wanted to have a relationship with my mom, get a relationship back with my mom. I don't understand why you want to do that. Then I say, that's my mom for one thing. And the Bible tells us to honor thy mother and thy father. That's another thing. And I say, and I love her. I love my mom, regardless of whatever we've been through. I love her. And I gotta get it right because I don't want blood on my hands, and I don't want my heart to be. I don't want no regrets. I don't want no regrets with nobody. Because when they put that RIP over me, I'm gonna be resting. I'm gonna be resting. And when I pass away, I wanna, I don't know what they're gonna say, but want them to say, "Oh, girl, she looks so good. She got that glow. There's a glow. Even in death, she still got that glow about her." I don't want I don't want no stone left unturned. I want my hands to be clean. I want my heart to be pure. I don't want no regrets. So that's why I'm not holding grudges. I'm not holding unforgiveness. And whatever I need to tell you, I'm gonna tell you. But I'm gonna say it with love, because I don't, to catch the more flies with the honey than you can with vinegar and all that sort of thing like that. You know, it's just things of the past. I just outgrow. I have outgrown all of that. I can't stop you from talking. I can't stop nobody from talking about me. I can't stop nobody from feeling a way about me. And it's not what you say about me, it's what I answer to. And what you feel, you're gonna have to take that up with God, because I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not my problem. That's not my issue. That's not my problem, nor is that my issue. And I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if y'all remember about the lady I said when we was in church one Sunday. And when I'm walking, I got big breasts, right? So, when I have on my good bra, these girls stand up, Mercy and Grace, they stand. So when I was walking by, my head, my tatas hit, brushed against the head, and I was trying so hard not to. So the lady went off on me while the preacher was preaching. And I just told her, no, not right now, not right now. So she go to the pastor's wife and say, every time I be sitting down, she always brushes across my head. And I think she do that on purpose. And I said, and so then I knew it. See, God had already showed me what this lady was going to do, right? So I let her go ahead, and I stood right behind her while she was telling the pastor's wife that. And I say, look, I ain't said nothing to this lady. All I did was just walk past, and my tatas hit her, brushed on the back of the head. I said, these girls are big, and they be standing to attention on Sunday because I have on my good bra. And so she said, she started laughing. I said, I'm not worried about you, nor am I worried about her either. So, people was coming to my defense and said, she didn't say nothing to this lady. She ain't do nothing to this lady. And so after that, I had just stopped talking to the lady. I just stopped talking to the lady. And then she get up and she do the prayer. She do the congregational prayer. I can't even get into her prayer because I was holding a grudge against this lady, right? And so it was one Sunday, a little child came to me and asked me for some candy, and I had to stop him from asking me for candy. I said, look, you ain't even said good morning to me, and you asking me for candy. And she said, well, you didn't say good morning to me either. And I said, I'm not going to say good morning to you until you apologize, ask me forgiveness for what you did and how you acted towards me. And I said, now, when you do that, then you will get a good warranting out of me. But until then, you won't. And so I said that to this lady. And then, I didn't feel no type of way. I wasn't angry when I said it to her because I needed to let her know. No, you just don't say things about me, and you don't just treat me any kind of way and think I'm supposed to bow down to you. Who are you? Who are you? I respect you as being my elder, but you're going to respect me as also. So yesterday was Mother's Day, and I didn't do it on purpose, but God showed me where I was doing something wrong. God showed me where I was doing something wrong. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, girl. This woman sit right in front of me. So I got to walk past her to go in the pastor's office. Then I got to walk back past her to go into the storage closet. I'm just walking past this, and everybody good. Happy Mother's Day, Miss Rita. Happy Mother's Day, baby. Happy Mother's Day, Shook. Happy Mother's Day, hon. And then say Happy Mother's Day to this lady or nothing, right? So I'm gonna tell you how God fixed things up. So after church, I'm waiting for the lady who work in the kitchen. She live out here where I live at, so she gave me a ride home. So this lady was sitting on the bench waiting for in the foyer, sitting out on the bench. So I wanted to sit up. But I saw it and I said, I'm finna sit down. So I said, move your cake over so I could sit down. So we still didn't talk. So when the lady who was giving her a ride, I said, come, I just got to go do this and then we could go. So she got up to leave. She said, Happy Mother's Day, and looked at me and started. I said, Happy Mother's Day to you too, girl, and start laughing, right? So I gotta it's not that I was holding a grudge, but I just didn't see her. So I didn't feel like I was holding a grudge. I didn't feel like I had any unforgiveness. However, God let me see. He dropped in my spirit, and the Holy Spirit convicted me. Yeah, you hold the grudge, Maritha. Yes, you hold that unforgiveness. So you got to let that go. And I decided that Sunday that I was going to let that go because I didn't recognize that's what I was doing. And I'm not so big that I cannot go to a person and ask them to forgive me. I'm not so big that I cannot go to a person and say, I'm sorry. I'm not so big to go to a person and let them know I was wrong. I'm not too big that I can't do that. And a lot of people say, well, I didn't know how to come to you and say something because I know how you are. No, you know how I used to be. And you not going to put that on me. That's you. That's not me. Because I don't wear I ain't got no pitfall in my hand that if you come to me, I'm gonna do something to you. I'm not like that. However, before you come to me, please say your prayers and please think about the words that you're gonna use, the words that's gonna come out your mouth when you talk to me. That's all that I ask. That's all that I ask. Because before I go to a person, before it is recommended that I go to a person, I have to be in. I had to tell my pastor last week, well, I got to pray about that one, Pastor. He said, yeah, Marita, I want you to pray about that one. He said, I want you to pray. He said, but you got to go to that person and let that person know how you feel. And so I know I got to go to this person because I don't like to be skipping around and pretending. I'm not that girl. I'm not a pretender. I want you to know what I'm feeling. I want you to know what I'm thinking when I'm with you. I'm not a pretentious type of person. If you don't like me, that's not my problem. There's nothing that I could do to change to make you like me because that's something you're going to do anyway, not like me just because you don't. That's not an issue of mine. That's not an issue of mine. I ain't got nothing to do with what you feel. However, if I make somebody feel some kind of way, and I know I have, I don't go to that person and say, look, if I made you feel some type of way, no, 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 that's not the way I started out. Look, sis, it appears that do we need to talk? What we need to talk about? Well, it appears to me that I said something that, or I did something that I'm not aware of what I said or what I did. So if you have a time, we can talk about it. Do you have time that we can talk about it? Let me know what it is that you're feeling, and so I can get it right. So I can have a chance to get it right. Well, I don't feel like talking about it right now. Okay, sis, whenever you feel like it, then we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, I'm going to be praying. I'm going to be praying because when we do talk about it, I want to be in that right frame of mind to talk about it. And I want that person to be able to receive what it is that I'm going to say. And I want to ask God to open up my heart and give me a renewed mind that I can receive what they're saying as well. So we don't be doing all this to each other and we don't be talking over each other and we don't be talking loud and we don't be screaming and yelling at each other. So that, when death occurs, it brings on it brings on a lot of emotions. It brings on a lot of emotions and it puts you in a place to where it should put you in a place of where you have to take self inventory. You can't, Lord, when is my time coming? I don't know. I don't even want to know when mine comes because it's coming. All I know is I'm closer to the grave now than I ever been before. Every day I'm getting a little bit closer. And I got an understanding that I am on my way out. But I'm not going to walk in fear. I'm not going to live in fear of nothing and nobody because see that's a bridge. There's a journey we all going to take. But when you know where you're going, when you got that relationship, when you got that connection, when you got that hook up, you don't worry about it. Soon and very soon, heaven is a prepared place for prepared people. And if you're not prepared, if you're not ready, you better be trying to get ready. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Start preparing your body, your mind, your heart. Get it right. Let it go. Let it go. It's not adding not one day onto your life. It's not adding not one positive thing to your life. What it's doing is it's chipping away at your happiness. It's chipping away at your peace. It's chipping away at your joy. It's chipping away. And after a while, you're not going to be yourself anymore because you're holding on to something. And if you're waiting for somebody to say, I'm sorry, good luck. Good luck. If you're waiting on somebody to do that, just chalk this up as a loss, and then you start from where you are, and then you just go ahead on. Don't be looking back. Don't keep on thinking about, well, they ain't came to me and said nothing. I don't know how to feel about that, girl. Let me tell you how to feel about it. Feel no way about it. Because what you're holding on to ain't adding nothing to you. It's subtracting and it's dividing. And whenever that person come around, you got to go in your pocket or you're picking lint off your dress and you dusting yourself off. It ain't even nothing on you. I can say it because I done did it. I can say it because I have done it. I have done it. And I made a conscious decision to speak life over myself, to speak abundance over myself, to speak healing, and to speak protection over myself. And I plead the blood of Jesus over me, over my family, over my friends. I told y'all, I pray for y'all. I pray for this. I don't pray for increase in this YouTube channel anymore. I don't pray for increase. Lord, increase my territory. Oh, Lord, bring me a whole lot of people. I don't pray for that. I pray for the ones I don't call. Sometimes I could say AKA, sometimes I could say Shirley, and sometimes I could say Guta, and sometimes I could call out names. Sometimes I can't call out names. But I say, Lord, pray for my YouTube village. Pray for my YouTube village. I'm praying for their strength. I'm praying for your strength. I'm praying for your understanding. I'm asking God to block what is not, the things that meant for bad. I'm asking God to block that. I'm asking God to release those blessings that's been stored up over there in the corner that got your name on it. I ask God for blockage and release. That's what I ask God for everybody on here. Can't call your name, don't know your name, charge it to my head and not my heart. But I just pray that this YouTube channel be what God want this YouTube channel to be. Whether 2 people come on, whether 3 people come on, whether 3,000 come on. That's what I'm praying for. That's what I'm praying for. It's Monday morning. You woke up this morning. That's a good sign. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it and choose. Be a wise builder. Build on solid foundation. Don't be that foolish builder. Don't ask yourself, am I the thermometer or am I the thermostat? The thermostat has all the numbers on it. The thermometer, if you want it to be 80 degrees, all you got to do is just push the thermometer up. If you want it to be 68, all you got to do is push the thermometer down. It's going to be hot or it's going to be cold. And if you just want it even, you put it on whatever's even for you, 74, 76. You put it on even. And that's how I look at myself sometimes. And I ask myself, are you the thermometer? Are you the thermostat? The thermostat, the thermometer controls the thermostat. So which one are you? I asked myself that. I asked myself, and I was in a struggle about a situation. And then when I had a made up mind about it and I struggled with it, and I said, Lord, I gotta change. This gotta change. This situation has got to change. I'm older than this child. That's a child. And I shouldn't feel that way about her. I said, however, Lord, that's the way I feel. And I'm going to be honest with my feelings. This is the way I feel. But Lord, however, Lord, I want you to deliver me from that feeling. I want to see this child the way you see this child. I want to I want to love this child. I just don't like this child, which is the way this child is. And you know what? God worked that thing out. God worked that thing out. Yesterday, her mom had said, she had been telling me about this book. So I told her I didn't have the book. And no, she said, "Did you get it? Did you ever get the book?" I said, "No, I didn't. I didn't get the book." She said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you mine." So I said, "Okay." So this is the book she's talking about, "Woman Evolved" by Sarah Jakes. Right? I want to really read this book, and I really had stopped. I didn't really even think about it anymore. Right? So yesterday, just the way the little girl, I was sitting on the bench talking to the lady, and so this the way the little girl, she just stood in front of me with the book, and so I turned around and I said, "Oh, okay, thank you." And sometimes God will do things where you don't even have time to even think about it. You know what I'm saying? He'll do things where you don't even have time to think about it. So don't take that pressure off of yourself. Take the pressure off of yourself. Live a life of abundance. Live life of joy. Live life as peace. Be as peaceful as you possibly can at all times. Even when you're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, still walk through that, knowing that if God brought me to this, God gonna bring me through this. And God ain't gonna just bring you somewhere and just drop you there. If God brought you to it, even sometimes when we bring ourselves there, when we put our own self in a situation, God still gonna, he right there, but you know what? God will step back and let you do your own thing sometime. And then the first person we gonna call on is, oh Lord. And he gonna hear us. He gonna hear us, but you gotta go through something because you did that. That was the choice that you made. You made that choice. And sometimes the choice will be made for us. But let me tell you something. Take God at his word. God said, "I'll never leave you nor forsake you." And he won't. You just got to know. You just got to know within yourself that God is an ever present God. He's an on time God. May not come when you call him, but he right there on time. And I know it's a lot of times you could think back when you thought you was going to go over that cliff. You thought that that was going to be the end. You didn't know how you was going to get. You didn't know how you was going to make it. You didn't know how you was going to get by. You just didn't know. But all of a sudden, it seemed like it was an all of a sudden blessing. It seemed like God just stepped in all of a sudden. God stepped in on time every time. God steps in on time and every time. And I said I didn't get nothing for Mother's Day yesterday, but one of the elders in the church, she bought me this book by Laura L. Smith, Restore My Soul, The Power and Promise of Psalms 30. The power and the promises of Psalms 30. So I got two books yesterday because I love to read. I love to read. So and I have about four books that I have to read. So and we're getting ready in one of my ministries. We're getting ready to one of the ministries that I'm a part of. We are getting ready to start studying 30 Life Promises from Charles Stanley. We're getting ready to do that one. So I have some books that I'm going to be reading and taking notes on and talking about. And so what I'm saying today, let not your heart be troubled, neither nor be dismayed about anything that's going on in life. I'm gonna tell you, God is real. God is real, and don't let a horrible situation, don't let death, don't let nothing else um put you in a state. If you gotta grieve, we're gonna grieve. If you gotta cry, cry, cause crying is cleansing your spirit, and God bottles up all of those tears. Um, whatever, if you need to scream about a situation, go ahead, scream. Don't hold it in. Let it go. If there's a situation, issue, life just life and life back. That situation you ain't got no control over because if you did, you'll do something about it. And if you can't do nothing about it, be still, my sister. Be still and be of good courage and walk in peace. Because soon and very soon and by, God is going to give you the answer that you need. Just hold on for a little while longer. Hold on for a little while longer because that what you have been asking for, and I'm gonna keep on saying, hold on, it's about to come. Because I know you feel it in your spirits. I know something in your spirit is shifting, and you don't understand why you don't understand why you're feeling this way. Because God is up to something, and something good is about to happen. God is moving things out the way. God is arranging things the way that He want them. But you got to do. But you got to do something. You got to exercise that faith. You got to put that faith to work. Faith without works is dead. And by working that faith, that if God say, "Be still, be quiet," let it go. Do what God say do, and I bet you'll be singing a song of praise, and you'll be walking around hallelujah. And then you're gonna have to tell somebody of the goodness of the Lord. You're gonna have to tell somebody what the Lord done for me. Let me tell you, I got to tell somebody what the Lord has done for me. So, um, that's what I got. That's what I got. So I please keep me and my family in prayer for my friend. Keep my friend family in prayer. Her name is Tammy. Keep her husband and all her family in prayer. And you pray for me, I pray for you because that's what we do. That's what Christians do. And in the meantime, in between time, holla. And then y'all holler back. Y'all have the best day ever because this is the day that the Lord has made. And we're going to rejoice and we're going to be glad in it, regardless of what's going on around us. And we're going to smile, a genuine smile, because you know what? You look good when you smile. You look beautiful. So let's just make it a great day. And I love you. I love you to life, and y'all just be encouraged and be encouraging to someone else and be blessed today. Be blessed today because it's just a blessing to even be up and thanking God. So you be blessed and be a blessing to someone else. Give extend kindness along this journey of life because somebody needs some kind words spoken to them today, and have compassion towards someone and let it go. Let go and let God. Peace, deuces, and I'm out. Holla, and I'll holla back. I'm outie.